Howdy, folks. I'm Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Reddit. Our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for asking my girlfriend not to embarrass herself by bringing up shameful stuff at a dinner party with my company's CEO? There are a couple of content warnings here: hoarding and eating disorders. My girlfriend kind of had a rough upbringing, and now she's turned out really successful. She's also probably one of the most self confident and self assured people I know, which I really admire. But every once in a while, she will say stuff that's just socially uncomfortable. For example, we were going to dinner and my friend kept apologizing for her messy car. My girlfriend said, Girl, I grew up in a hoarder house and I'm in the middle of shoveling gross stuff out of that house. There's nothing on earth that could disgust me anymore. And while it's true, it was kind of uncomfortable overshare. Another time, her coworker was talking about how their kid was really shy and didn't know how to help. My girlfriend said, Give her time, I'm sure she'll grow into herself. I didn't talk to anyone in school, literally, like, had no friends, if you believe it. One last time, my girlfriend and I were at a networking event, and one of my coworkers joked about my girlfriend would enjoy grabbing thirds of food when she's young because she can't eat like that forever. And without missing a beat, she said, Oh, I don't think about food restrictions like that anymore. It's an eating disorder trigger for me. Anyways, I'm trying to bulk up. Anyway, we had a big argument about it. We were invited to a dinner at my company's CEO's house this coming weekend, along with a few peers. I asked her not to share anything uncomfortable there. She asked me what I meant, and I gave her some examples. I told her that she's kind of shameless about stuff most people find shameful, and it's awkward. She's like, but it's not really shameful? Like, I got over that self hating stuff a long time ago, and renovating and flipping that house, so many of your coworkers talk about that kind of stuff. I said that it wasn't house flipping, it was the fact that it was her family's home and it was a hoarder house. And it was really weird to shamelessly talk about having no friends and an eating disorder. She was like, That stuff's in the past. Why would I be insecure now? I got exasperated and asked her just not to share stuff that most people find embarrassing to say at dinner. And she got angry with me and said it sounded like I thought her whole life was embarrassing, so she should just shut up. I said, No, talk about current stuff, like you just got a promotion, traveled to Europe, bought your dream car. And she snapped at me. But I'm also still shoveling cat junk out of the house every day. So it sounds like you're just embarrassed of me. I say, Go away for saying that I should have more shame. I'm proud of myself. It sounds like you're the one who's ashamed. I'm still worried about how this dinner party will go, and I'm questioning whether I have messed up by saying something. Am I the jerk asking my girlfriend not to embarrass herself at a dinner party with my company's CEO? All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Jerk. I mean, it's really awesome that your girlfriend is confident in herself and where she's come from. And if people are weirded out, like, sure, some of that stuff isn't like conventional, like small talk, but if people are weirded out by that, like, they're not worth your time.
I think it's important for her to mention the eating disorder
Mm
type of thing, especially. It was kind of inappropriate for the coworker to even, insinuate that, oh, she should, grab those thirds while she can and she's still young.
Yeah, that
And
was something I wanted to touch upon too, because it's so normalized that we talk
hmm
about food in that very unhealthy way when, there are a lot of people who do have eating disorders
yeah,
and those kind of talk can be triggering. So
yeah.
I think that's actually really healthy to be like, oh, yeah. Um,
And there are a lot of people who kind of shy away from talking about those things because it kind of shows a vulnerability. And I can certainly understand him being, a little wary about sharing vulnerable things, but that is not she's not sharing oversharing stuff about him.
mm-hmm.
She's not opening up his own personal wounds, and she's talking about her own personal experiences, and it sounds in somewhat relevant terms too, right? If someone's talking about, oh, a mess, right? She was just trying to make light of the situation and be like, yeah, I don't actually like care about how gross your car is because I'm dealing with far grosser stuff. And, like, oh, I don't care about my how much I eat here because I used to and now I don't anymore. And I don't think that that's really oversharing in the way that I think he's trying to paint it to be. But I would be curious about what you folks think.
Our next story is Am I the jerk for holding my boyfriend to task over a dream he had? This morning, my boyfriend told me about a dream he had last night. In the dream, there was a 10-foot tall bird who fell in love with him and told him that she was a human who'd been cursed into a bird and that he needed to do something, he forgot the details, in order to reverse the curse so that she'd turn back into a human and they could get married. He laughed and thought it was a funny, silly, meaningless dream. I told him that our dreams often reflect our unconscious desires and that this dream could mean that a part of him is into animals and that he needs to go to a therapist. He laughed and went, "Oh, come on, dreams don't mean that much." I stood my ground, telling him that therapy was important and looked up a list of nearby therapists on my phone. We discussed the issue for about 20 minutes, with me strongly urging him to see a therapist the whole time, before he suddenly got mad and went, "Forget it. I'm done with this. It was a stupid dream. It doesn't mean anything. Forgive me for even bringing it up. Why do you always take things so needlessly, deathlessly seriously? God, you can really suck all the fun out of a room. It's a stressful even talking to you about silly stuff because you take the most meaningless things and use it as evidence of some serious, deep-rooted character flaws I have. I'm gonna take a walk. I'll see you later." Who was in the wrong here?
All right. Well, what do you folks think? Jerk or not the jerk?
I'm gonna say the jerk here. Not everything is that deep.
Yeah, I think that that's the key here is that OP's really reading into a situation. And I think OP is really, really reading into this dream here. I don't think that you can have a dream and dreams are generally meaningless, right? There are maybe sometimes dreams reveal certain things to us, but they don't always have meanings. And I think taking a meaning out of this one and being like, oh yeah, this clearly means that you're into animals, I think is kind of inappropriate, really inappropriate.
Well, and it's such a stretch too,
Yeah.
because it was like this epic quest thing. Like, how many books are there where
Yeah.
someone gets turned into an animal?
Yeah.
The prince is a frog, and you gotta reverse the curse or
Mm-hmm.
something so you can marry him. Like, it's such a common trope.
It is. It's a very common trope, and at the end of the day, they marry the human,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not like they're not marrying the human, unless we're talking about Shrek, in which case they stay ogres, right? But
Mm-hmm.
those are still humanoids, right?
Mm-hmm. And they're both
So,
the same
and
species.
they're both the same species. So, yeah, I think that this is really a stretch, a big stretch here. Our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Reacting to My Mother-in-Law's Antics Anymore? I'm a 25-year-old female, and my wedding was last week, and I'm currently on a road trip with my husband for our honeymoon, and this has been bugging me since the big scene at my wedding. Let's make this clear. Mother-in-law is the mother from heck, and she hates me for the simple reason that no girl is good enough for her son, and that I'm the witch who stole him from her. She does not listen to my husband at all and believes that I'm an evil witch who's corrupted him against her. While we were dating, she would do a lot of stuff to me to get a rise or reaction, usually negative, from me, and at first I react exactly how she wanted, but eventually I got tired and I just went along with her nonsense. Feeding me food that I dislike, okay, I'll eat it. Lying about what day I was going to go dress shopping and not answering her calls anymore, check. Basically, she's gotten more and more unhinged and mad because I've stopped reacting, and my father in law and other in laws have been telling me to stop my antics because my mother in law usually ends up taking it out on them. The straw that broke the camel's back happened at my wedding. I didn't have a traditional wedding. It was a lakeside. At the reception was outdoor barbecue, and I wore a red sundress because I like red and I was planning on swimming later. Mother-in-law showed up in a white dress that bordered on a wedding dress, and when she found out that I was wearing a red sundress, she got mad. My brother and husband ended up having to drag her off the lakeside and get my father-in-law to take her home due to the tantrum that she threw. Anyway, she's been making life miserable for everyone back home and blaming me for it. My husband is on my side and supports how I reacted to his mother, but my other in-laws are telling me to stop being childish because they have to deal with the consequences of my actions with how mother-in-law acts, and they're sick of my immaturity and to do just what mother-in-law says. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. I love how everyone is like, Opie, you need to be essentially like the whipping boy so that
Yeah.
we don't have to deal with this. Like, you all need to tell mother in law to stop being a jerk and just go no contact with her or something.
Yeah.
You can't expect OP to keep being abused because.
Well, and the on top of that, she's just not
Mm-hmm,
reacting, right? So this isn't. She's acting mature.
mm-hmm,
She's acting like an adult. She's acting like the adult in the room here.
mm-hmm,
And they're like, you need to feed into
mm-hmm.
her reactions here so that she will leave us alone.
Like,
And
we'd rather have your wedding day ruined, like
yeah,
you just have a meltdown tantrum on your wedding day, than to be like, oh, cool, you're in a white dress, chill.
yeah. Well, I think that's actually really good that OP ended up wearing a red dress
Mm-hmm.
because it really just kind of thwarted her. And if mother-in-law had gone dress shopping with her, maybe she would have known that she was wearing a red dress, and then she could have shown up in her own red dress. So I don't think that OP is the jerk in this situation. I think the rest of the family just needs to get a reality check. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they've let her get away with this behavior for so long that they don't even know how to mitigate it at this point in time. And I think that's really what the crux of the issue is. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I have a beverage. Amber has a beverage. We all have beverages and jokes.
Oops. Trying to throw your letter, which is actually my letter.
Amber has a joke for us.
Who wrote I am helplessly lost? A. Are you sure? B. Was the exit? C. Where am I now?
Those are a few interesting jokes, punchlines, if you will, to a posed question. And I have licorice spice, courtesy of Amber. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like, and if you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Happy Friday, Junior.